man can't even do a video with his family. Like, if I did a YouTube video, I don't do YouTube videos normally, and I do a video with someone, a friend of mine, let's say, or relative, and someone starts belittling them and accosting them on the internet, but some one of these troll haters and fools that they're out here, and they start doing. I really hope you're. I think you're a sensible person. Brett Keane is not responsible for the abuse that he gets. No one ought not to have. It's kind of late, so I'm kind of like all over the place. The internet ought not to abuse someone, family to be attacked. They would just put them out there like Brett does. That maybe half a percent. So let me show you something here, Palm Jam. Take a look at this. This is what they're doing to Brett's wife. Can you see the screen? Look what they're doing. This is the type of filth they're doing. This is what they're putting out there. This is people. This is why I believe that probably like a little atheist, probably a non-believer. This is why I believe that we should have a big giant sausage making machine for humans. Just throw these people in this machine, turn the crank, and make sausages out of them. I have no problems. I don't think it's ethically or morally wrong to, quite frankly, do that. Actually, to be honest with you, if they think this is okay to do to someone, I mean, you're saying that people just, if someone who puts their family out there. I mean, this is what you're thinking about. I mean, this is where it comes down to. I mean, I'm sorry, but look at this. So I'm going to go ahead and obviously violates contents. Let's see, pornography, hate speech. I mean, you can do you can do all of this basically. Okay. Report this post, something else. It is towards a race. Towards a race. I mean, this is just a type of filth. And you know what? You cut down one weed and two weeds will grow up in its place. And they're weeds. Exactly, they're human weeds. They should be exterminated. I don't necessarily have a problem with, I mean, people taking out the trash. This is what whatever. It is what it is.
And everything. If you just kept your mouth shut about atheism and atheism was in the trash can where it belongs, no one would care. Atheism is absolutely a religion. It's hateful, it's hurtful, it's abusive. Atheism is known, if you type into Google atheism, atheists are known for lying. They're liars, they're deceivers, they're not trustworthy, they're mean people that commit more crimes, they're more hateful, suicidal, abusive, all sorts of, but abusive, definitely abusive. Definitely bad. They're bad people. Let's just say it like that. Atheists, stay away from. Don't have nothing to do with them. Atheism, stay away from it like the plague. People have an extreme problem with atheists and atheism because you're deceitful, you're liars, you're hateful, you're abusive.
About my last hangout because while I was out, I don't know why this camera is so blurry. Let me see. There. A little bit better. I don't know what happened in part of it, but apparently a lot of people have been offended, and I want to say I apologize for the offense that was caused due to people like John Grishala. Because my beliefs are not his. I just want to say that. I am not anti-Semitic at all. I believe those who bless Israel shall be blessed. Those who curse Israel shall be cursed. But I will say, I did not appreciate a lot of his comments that he was saying, and it really has convicted me. I was talking to a brother of Christ of mine, and she really was like, how could you let people say such horrible things? Apparently there was a statement about Jesus Christ on the cross. I didn't hear it. He said I laughed about it. I didn't hear it, you know, because I was out and about. I will say, with everything in me, I don't appreciate the cross to be made fun of in any way, shape, or form. Jesus Christ is Lord. He died on that cross to save man from the sins of the world. And, you know, he shouldn't be mocked for the things he's done. And I don't care if you're a freaking Jew or not. You know, you shouldn't mock the man. I mean, even if you don't believe he is Lord, you shouldn't mock him. That man was hung on a fucking cross. He was hung. One of the horriblest amounts of violence done on a human being, and you're going to mock it. Now, I wish I knew what was said. I don't. I'm just getting feedback from people. And, John, you need to quit that anti-Christian sentiment in you. Because I know you're going through this Hasidic Jew thing right now. You're going through that phase. You're finding your spirituality. You're trying to find out what the truth is. I understand that, John. But, you know, how would you feel if what you said about Jesus Christ is equivalent to me doing a really bad Hitler joke and saying you're kind of like burning on fire like the Jews did, you know, when the Nazis threw them in the chambers, you know? It would be something like that. You know, equivalence to that in offense. And you know, next time I'm going to be a little bit more mature and, you know, cut you off right then and there if you talk like that. Because it has offended a lot of people and it's not right. Another thing I want to address is your talks about Rev News. He's a very private person and he doesn't want to be talked about. And at the same time, it's like, why are you hating on this guy so much? What has he done to you to cause so much hate toward him? Like, seriously, what has he done to cause so much hate toward him? You know, was it him yelling a couple times? Is that what it is? I mean, I don't get it, but, I mean, seriously, I will address it, and please respect his privacy and respect my privacy when it comes to that issue. Because you are hurting people, and it's not right to hurt him. You know, John, I know you're super jealous of him at the moment. But, you know, how do I put it? Oh, Lord, give me the words. You can't help how people feel about others, either. You know, and you trying to, like, put a wedge in between me and Rev, it's not going to do anything but push me further away from you. Because he is my best friend, and I love him to death, and I would do anything to make him happy. Anything to make him happy. Because he deserves to be happy. He's had a really hard life, and he deserves happiness. He doesn't deserve to be treated like shit by people that don't really know who he is. You know, so it's not right. I don't appreciate it. And I'm just going to leave it as that. You know, You guys I'm going to have to do
Select a menu.
like, seriously, I'm going to have to do a little bit better moderating my hangouts if I ever have one again. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to have one because of the events that went down yesterday. You know, and I wasn't really in control of my room. I was out taking care of my kids and doing errands. So...
Need more time?
Yes, I do need more time. Give me 1 minute.
Select a fresh sub.
Thank you.
Select a fresh sub. Please select footlong. Select a fresh... select a menu. Please make a selection.
That's it?
Select a menu.
God, they have crap here.
Select a fresh sub.
I don't want to select a
Please
there
select
we go.
footlong.
That's what
Please
I wanted.
make a... Select a bread. Would you like your sub... Select a cheese. Add extra cheese. Add more topping. Select your top... Select your top... Would you like to make your order? Add a side? Would you like to add to your order? Anything else? Please review your order and select the...
Thank
Select
you.
a menu. Select a fresh sub.
Huh. Sorry.
Select a menu. Select
I'm sorry.
a fresh
Just
sub.
apologize. I'm running errands again. Because
Select
I
a
don't have
fresh
time
sub.
for this shit all day. You know, I don't have time to deal with people's bullshit. You know, but I just wanted to address some things because I know it hurts someone that's very dear to me, and I don't...
Please select footlong. Select a bread.
I would do
Would
anything
you
not
like
to see that
select
man
a
hurt.
cheese? Add extra cheese. Add more top. Select your topping.
You know, I don't want to see that man hurt. I don't want to see him
Select
in
your
pain.
condiments.
I love that man, and if I have to go and do
Would
as
you
much
like
as I
to
can
add
to,
a
like,
side?
show him how
Would
much
you
I
like
care
to
for
add
him,
to anything else?
I will.
Please review.
So,
Thank you
please, just leave him alone and, you know, just value the fact that I do want to take privacy in my life. I don't want to be constantly talking about what happened with my marriage. I don't want to be talking about my relationship status with people. I just don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about real freaking issues, you know, real issues. Things that actually matter, because my private life is really none of anyone's business at this point, and I put so much shit out, so much shit about my private life over the last few months that I guess you guys got a little addicted to it. And I apologize. I was just going through a lot of shit, but I'm trying to move on with my life. I'm trying to move forward. And I think the best way to move forward in your life is if you keep your privacy, you know? Because the things what happened between me and Chris, you don't know the whole story, and I'm not going to give the whole story out because it's too painful to talk about. You know, the people who I've told what happened, I told what happened because I consider them my friends.
Would you like receipt?
No thank you.
Alright.
And, you know, when it comes to me and my relationship status with others, it's none of your business because we want to keep what's going on private. When it comes to John Grishala being a freaking racist, Christophobe douche, you're going to have to quit that with me, or I'm going to cut you off. You know, because I've been very respectful about your beliefs. You're going to have to be respectful for my beliefs. You know? And it's
Is the card back
Thank you.
for you?
it's simple as that. It's either respect me for my beliefs or don't respect me at all. You know, because I know you're trying to convert me to Judaism, and it's not going to work because that would be requiring me to deny my Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm not going to be denying my Savior because I know him. I kissed his feet. I've seen him. He came before me. So it's like hard to deny someone when you actually know who they are. It's hard. You know, and I'm not going to deny him for you for Judaism. You know, it says clearly in the Bible, do not listen to the fables of the Jews. It says another thing. Do not believe those who say they are Jews but are not, but a synagogue of Satan. You know, and that's not being anti-Semitic. That's just what the word says, and I'm going to follow the word because that's who I am. I follow the word of God to my best ability. Thank you. Yes, I fall. Yes, I stumble. Yes, I do stupid shit. I understand. I do stupid shit all the time, but my declaration of my faith will always be Jesus Christ. You know, and I'll always point that out to people. You want to be saved? Jesus Christ. You're having problems in your life? Jesus Christ. And it's always going to be that. It's not going to change. It's never going to change. Jesus Christ is my life. He is. He's my life. He has been for so long. Why would I give up on him? Why would I give up on him for a man? Yeah, I'm sorry, John. You have a nice sweet talk, but you're not that sweet talking. You're not that good to freaking turn away from my Messiah. I don't think so. I ain't turning away from my Messiah. And you can say he's not the Messiah all you want. He is the Messiah. He came here. He died for us. He sacrificed himself as a perfect lamb. And you deny him. Why? Because you're stuck in your head that you're some kind of Jew, and you're fucking not, because you're a fucking Irish man from freaking New York. You're Irish. You're not Hebrew. You're Irish. You're Irish. It would be better if you actually went freaking pagan. Because you're Irish. And if this ends our relationship, John, fine. Fine. But you know what? Yesterday, you really did hurt a lot of people. A lot of people thought you were freaking cool, and you just go and blast the freaking cross like that. The cross of Jesus Christ. Your people, you think of him as some kind of prophet, but yet you're going to, you know, blaspheme a prophet. And you say you're a Jew. You're an Irishman. You're just as Irish as I am, dude. You're just as Irish as I am. So I'm just going to end this here. I think I said what I needed to say. I'm sorry for all the offense that was caused in my hangout yesterday. I wish I did a little bit better moderating it. I wish I had a little bit more common sense in my head, but now, you know, my minister, he taught me well, and he will continue to teach me through my life. So, peace and Maranatha, folks.
Saul, why
Hey, G-Man, I'm
persecutest thou
blocked.
me?
Can you like
And he
unblock me?
said,
Look, I try
Who
to.
art thou,
I
Lord?
leave a
And
comment
the Lord said,
at
in Jesus, whom thou persecutest.
at G-Man. I'll go at
It is
G-Man.
hard for
I'll
thee
say
to kick against the pricks.
Shalom
And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord,
right, and there's my
what
text,
wilt thou
right?
have me to do? And the Lord said
But
unto
it's not
him,
there.
Arise, and it shall be told unto thee what thou shalt
See,
do.
I don't. I'm not showing
And
up.
the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice,
Go back.
but seeing no man. And Saul, and when his eyes were opened,
Nothing.
he saw no man.
I'm blocked. G-Man, what's going on? Why am I
But
blocked,
they led
G-Man?
him by the hand and brought him to Damascus.
Ay. G-Man,
And
please.
it's
frustrating. I gotta run the zoo, G-Man. You got a zoo out there. I gotta get my comments, man. I'm hooked. I need to get my fix in, man. I gotta get my comments in.
And to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias, he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him,
And the Lord said unto him,
and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of
That's
Tarsus.
all I wanted to
And
say.
behold, he
I mean,
prayeth.
I don't really have anything to add. I just wanted to tell G-Man, show G-Man that I'm just blocked on your channel. G-Man, what? I want to know, why did you block me, man? Why did you block me? I had no comments. Okay. All right. J man, can you unblock me, please? Thank you. I appreciate it. Peace out. I love you, G man.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Choppy.
Can you do me a favor there,
there it is.
Bacon right to the bone.
Yeah, Bacon, can you do me
Or
a
as the
favor real
Muslims
quick?
would say, bacon bone, bacon bone.
Bacon, can you bring your camera up a little bit so we can see what your hat says?
Check this out.
Make America Great Again. It sounds like we've got a Donald Trump supporter here. Very good. I'm a Donald Trump supporter. I voted him in. I was talking.
Unfortunately, I live in a state that is blue, so my vote didn't really.
Well, obviously it did something. He's a president, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, he didn't win the popular vote, so he won by college.
Yeah.
He won by whatever that's called, whatever that is. He got more states, basically.
The Electoral College vote.
The Electoral College, there you go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we decided that we wanted to talk about a few things and also test out this new webcam extension through Discord. And as you can see my buddy J Dubs, you can see Bacon Bone, and we're gonna have a discussion.
Okay, as you might have guessed, this little series of of clips is basically based around J-Dubs, John Goshala, John Dwight, John Dwight Way, and several other names that he's probably come up with and called himself. The Google Meet room, of course, is open. The Google Meet code is splashed around all over the place. I'll put it on the screen. And in the meantime, I want to watch this train wreck called John Goshala.
About something recently happened to me tonight while I was on Discord. I don't know if Dubs was in the entire time during this scenario, but I'm going to be asking him and also our Trump supporter friend over here what their thoughts are. What happened was a guy comes in the room, he pretends to be a Christian, claims that he had a loss in his life, that his grandmother had died. And everybody was very sad. We were very sympathetic, and we tried to give him spiritual advice and all that, and also help him on an emotional level. At the end of the conversation, everybody treated him with nothing but respect, and we tried to spend time with him. He then ended up revealing that he was actually an atheist and told me that he wanted to fuck my fat, ugly wife, is how he ended it. And I find myself in a position when trying to get along with atheists, they will pretend to be religious, they will lie to me, they will deceive me, they will sexually harass me as well as my wife, because that's a sexual harassment comment when you say you want to fuck a woman you don't even know, and she obviously wouldn't find it appropriate, you saying things like that. So what is you guys' views, your experiences with atheists? Have you ever met an atheist that you didn't want to punch? I mean talk to? Go ahead. I'm all ears. Let's start with Mr. Bacon Bits. Bacon Bits, would you be able to give us your experience with atheists? How did they treat you?
I lie to atheists. I don't cast my pearls before swine.
Did you say you lie to atheists?
I lie to the atheists. They lie anyway. They don't have any respect. They're nihilists. They don't...
Okay, whoa. So he lies to atheists? I'm guessing he's a Christian. Just, you know, it just came into my head. I might be wrong, but I'm guessing that this dude's a Christian or through and through. Let's see if I'm right.
They don't have any real, you know... I mean, where do they get their morals from? From another man? What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything, so...
Right. But I could have sworn. Did you say just a moment ago, though, that you have lied to atheists? Because that's what it sounded like.
Let's hear about it. Let's hear about it.
Why did you lie to an atheist for? What happened there?
Exactly. Ask him, Brett.
Do what?
Are you saying? I don't know if I'm hearing the.
He asked. You cut out there, Brett. I think you were trying to ask him what was the topic about that you lied to him for.
Oh, they ask. They just ask about your religion because that's one of the things they like to attack is religion. One of the servers I am, what they do is they'll try to. A Christian will come and they'll try to turn him agnostic, then turn him into an atheist. It's just a big game to them, and I've seen them even attack atheists, their own fellow atheists, and try to turn them Christian, and then turn them back again. It's just a big game, you know. I just lied to him. I don't. You know.
This guy's full of shit.
You just don't give a shit. You don't give a shit what they think. Basically, you're just like fuck it. You don't want being a part of the game. What about you, J-Dubs?
Yeah.
You follow Jewish theology and all that, and you're nothing but a nice, relaxed, chill fucking guy. What's your experience been like with atheists?
What a liar.
They're usually hostile. But from the different, they come from a little. It's a little different with me because they deal with Christians all day and Muslims to a lesser extent. Very few Jews that ever come on the discussion.
You're not exactly
board,
a Jew yourself.
At first, it's kind of like interesting, Oh, you're a Jew. Let's learn about a little bit. But after you get over that little honeymoon phase, they pretty much fuck your face, like what they said to you on the message board.
So, what religion does it seem like atheists get most excited about attacking from your point of view?
Christianity.
Well, they don't go after the Muslims because the Muslims don't take shit from anyone.
Not on the server I've been on. They do go after the Muslims.
They do go after Muslims?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Very few. Probably it'd be Christians the most, but that's because it's more Christians that are prevalent on the chat sites.
Yeah, Mr. Bacon Bits, do Muslims actually hang out in the room with the atheists?
They will hang out in their. I've had one hang out for a couple of hours, and it's nonstop, and they finally just leave. They won't accept them in there. They're not accepted.
Atheists kick the Muslims out?
No. They just some of the people, they call them the hyenas. So the hyenas, the group, the hive mind will attack until the person just can't handle it anymore and they leave on their own. They don't kick them out.
All right, so they anger the Muslim until he leaves or she leaves.
They insult him, assault him, demean him. They make Allah look stupid, make Muhammad look stupid, make the person look stupid.
Yeah, I think that if you get about 10 people on one person and stuff, it's extremely difficult for a person to defend themselves or have any kind of conversation, especially if the Muslim is not native to America and isn't able to articulate English as well. Yeah, I can see that. Do you think that an atheist would actually go over into Muslim territory and talk that type of trash?
No.
Do you think that atheists got the balls?
We all hear the horror stories, Brett, on the internet. We read their news articles. I mean, you've done it on your channel. You talk about it. They give them a good one-way ticket down to paradise. You know what I mean?
Didn't a progressive liberal woman, because they think that it's radicals that are taking Islam and twisting it, which I don't believe that. I think they're all the same. But the liberal woman went to one of the Muslim countries and was trying to prove, Islam's not bad. They're not bad to women. And ended up getting killed. I think that was on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, she was raped and killed. Yeah, woman. I remember that. Yeah, that was recently too, a few months ago.
Yeah.
Oof, that's
yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like in society, atheists usually don't like to run their mouth when they're in front of Christians, Jews, or Muslims. But on the internet, the atheist rules as he lives in this fantasy, pixelated, virtual world. That's where the atheist really shows off the shit. But in real life, pretty much trash, garbage, quiet, silent.
They're pretty much, what are they called? Armchair shit talkers, I guess would be the term. Keyboard warriors, yeah.
Exactly. All right, so we've been running the stream for about 10 minutes. I think that it came through good. I'll show you guys the link here in just a moment. Anything else you guys want to say real quick, and then I'm going to say God bless. Go ahead. What do you want to say there, Bacon?
Okay,
Bits?
I was going to say that the Discord server I'm in, it's like I like to say this is funny. It's like, you know, when you go on a safari, like African, what do you call it? Tour, you know? Mm-hmm. So like you're sitting in the cage, you got your binoculars and you're watching the wild, you know. Well, that's what it's like when I'm in the server, you know. I kind of sit back and watch them, and so I have a YouTube channel where I record them, and I also have a Twitter account where I like to put it out there so people, if they want to listen and learn the way the liberal mind works, you know, you can go to my channel. There's 470 videos on these guys just arguing all kinds of stuff. The way
I like, you're gonna enjoy my metaphor. The way I look at it. You ever seen the movie 12 Monkeys with Brad Pitt and Bruce Willis?
I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Oh, you're not gonna get the. There's a scene at the end of the movie where Brad Pitt, he's a radical guy. He lets all the animals out of the Bronx Zoo, and they're just running wild. I go, that's a typical day on the internet. It's just all those animals running wild.
Yeah.
Damn. Am I echoing? Alright, I guess that's it for me, man. I guess that's it for the hangout. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Promote the video. I'm about to fucking pass out on the couch here. I have fucking nothing. I really don't have fucking anything here to fucking continue. There's no reason to fucking be here, so I'm just gonna fucking hang up. I love you. Take care. God bless you. I'll get some sleep. Take care. Fucking bye-bye. Fucking take care. And all those who are my haters, go fuck yourself. Take care of yourself too, Palm Jam. May God give you everything your heart wants. May God give you everything you grant. May God grant you success. If I ever see you, I will slit your fucking throat. Whenever I see you, God promise you, I will slit your throat.
God made
I will slit your throat. I will slit your throat.
I hear you, John. I hear your threats. I hear your threats.
I would love to just slit your fucking throat hole. I would love to.
Oh, you're a very violent type of a guy, John. You're very.
I am. I'm a very hateful person. You know what? I'm the most. You know what? Most people who talk to me, think I'm a nice guy. You're such a quiet guy. You're such a nice guy. But you know what?
That's funny.
I will come out of my shell. If I ever see you, I would love to just slit your fucking throat. Love to just slit your fucking throat.
Is that what sent you into the fucking nut house all those other times, John? You know, threatening people, you know, eating fucking nickels, all that. Is that why they sent you to the nut house? Is that right?
Exactly.
Right? Oh, right.
Exactly. John May, love to just fucking slit your fucking throat hole.
John Dwight.
Love to just slit your fucking throat hole.
Yeah. John
Love to
Dwight
just slit your fucking throat hole.
Yeah. Making threats, Johnny Dwight Way.
Oh, it's not a threat. It's a promise. If I ever see you, I will slit your throat.
Yeah,
I will
that's
promise
right,
you,
yeah.
I will slit your throat.
Yeah, of course you're gonna you make all of these fucking idle fucking threats. You've never carried any of them out, and it only lands you up in the fucking loony bin again.
Not an idle threat. If I will see you, I will slit your throat. I will promise you.
Report you to the fucking police for making threats. That's right. You are right.
Please do. Please do. Please do. Please do.
I will fucking report you. There's no doubt in my mind. I will report you for making threats. Polyester, and he couldn't predict fucking nylon because he didn't have the foresight.
Because it has nothing to do with Judaism. He doesn't care about polyester.
Oh, yeah. And the funny thing is, you probably go past every fish market that sells lobster and prawns, and you don't blink an eye. You're probably eating lobster.
When I was a goy animal with no sense of morality, I ate whatever I wanted to. I wanted.
Yeah. You're a Christian all your life, so now you've changed the goalpost, John. Now you don't want to be a Christian all your life, right?
I wasn't really a Christian. I grew up Catholic.
You know, I did ask you at the beginning of this thing. I said, "How long have you been a Jew?" I don't, not a Jew. Believed in God, and you said all your life. Right?
Yeah, it's true. I believed in God all my life.
Isn't that amazing? So when you were 1 year old, you know, you gave it so much thought, and you says, yeah, there has to be a God. And when you were 2 and 3 and 4, before you even went to school, you says, yes, there must be a God. And yet all the evidence proves that there is no God.
Babies have a very sense of wonder to them. They look out into the world and they know
and
everything is created.
As a proud non-parent,
it's instained in us. Dan just said within all the different cultures and countries that
who's never been married and has no fucking children is preaching to someone who has been married and who has got children.
Right, who has been married. You're divorced because you're a loser and you can't keep a woman.
After the children that you don't know.
John May.
Yes, John Dwight Way. All right, don't forget your middle name, John Dwight Way. Okay,
right.
I won't forget that. Okay, John Dwight Way.
Okay, are you done?
How do you feel now? Do you feel better, John Dwight Way? Do you feel better? Just tell me how you feel.
That's no longer my name. You know, when I became a Jew, I got a new name.
No, it is your name. Your parents gave you that name, okay?
Right, when I was but I converted.
You might have bought a Ford motor car. You just can't go down the highway and go, oh, hang on a second, I'm going to get a Ferrari sticker and change my car. It doesn't work like that, John Dwight Way.
My name is Johan. My name is Johan
No, it's not. No.
Yes, it is.
Next minute you can say, "Oh, my name's Father Christmas." It doesn't work like that, okay? Your parents gave you a name on your birth certificate. Your name says John Dwight Way.
And people can go down.
Okay? It's just like a leopard.
And people can change their name anytime they want. They don't have to stay with the name.
Yeah. I can play fucking dress up. See, that's the story of your life, John. See, you know, you want to change your name. You want to play dress ups. You live in this fantasy world. See, it's all you've come undone. You're pulling your.
The only one that lives in a
John,
fantasy world is you. You're the non-believer.
Oh yeah.
You believe that you come from pond scum.
You know, you basically.
You know why you act like an animal? You know why you have the name bulldog? It's because you're human garbage. You're little more than an animal.
Oh, you gave me the wrong name. I want to be called John Grushala. Oh, why do you want to be called John Grushala? Oh, it sounds very Jewish, and I just love it.
Actually, it's not a Jewish name. It's a Romanized name of a Jewish name.
A Romanized name of a Jewish name, of a French name, of this name, of that. Listen,
you don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't care. On your birth certificate,
Gishala is a Roman name.
I don't care. On your birth certificate, it says John Dwight Way. Okay, a leopard can't change its spots. Okay.
No, that's the opposite. A leopard can change its spots. Yeah.
But by the way, that's pretty fantastic. Keep up the good work, fellas.
I don't understand how much of good work it is for a human animal.
Hey, John,
Yes.
listen.
Yes, John.
Have you changed your name, have you? So you don't own John Dwight Way?
Technically, I do
Is
own
that
it.
right?
Technically, I do own it. Yeah.
Oh, technically you own it. Oh, okay. So what you want to do is say, oh, I want to use that name when I feel like it, and when I don't feel like it,
It's
I'm
my
going to use
government.
another
It's my
name.
government. It's my government
It
name.
depends on what day it is. All right. So when I get down the synagogue, I'll call me fucking Johannes fucking
Right.
AKA fucking Jew
Right,
boy.
the United States government doesn't
but when I
recognize
get pulled over by the police, I want to be called John Dwight Way. Is that how it's going to work?
I can't really control what the government does. If the government won't recognize my Hebrew name, I can't do anything.
The government didn't give you your name. That's the problem. Your parents gave you your name.
No,
so
the way society works is when someone's born.
Don't bring the government involved, right? When the police pull you over and say, "Oh, well, what's your name?" So really, you're like.
Dan,
oh,
can we just
oh,
remove this animal from the room, please? I don't want to be here with this guy.
You don't like getting a bit too hot in the kitchen for you?
It's just,
and the
I don't
animal,
want to listen to this
the
guy.
animal who's got are you talking about the animal who's got the AK-47 in his fucking hand?
John May, if I could, I would murder you.
What, you're going into war? Are you going into battle with an AK-47?
John. We're live, man. We're live. Remember that.
Yeah, I know that, and I want to point out that he's got an AK-47 in his hand. Yeah, I'm glad we're live. We all love that AK-47.
It just shows you that, and you know, people leave comments. I get anti-Semites all the time. They leave comments and they say, "Why do Jews think Gentiles are animals?" Here's proof right here on video why we think. People like
the very animal who's holding a fucking AK-47 in his hand.
It's photoshopped, you fucktard.
Oh, yeah, everything. Yeah.
Remember,
See,
dress up.
That's the whole
Remember,
life.
dress up. It's dress up, John May.
Photoshop.
It's dress up, John May.
I can make believe. I go down to fucking local fucking store and buy a hat and a jacket.
I'm just gonna put John May on Nor. I can't.
Yeah.
I have him on block. I have him on Nor. I can't hear what he says. I can hear what he says. Honestly, what he has to say has no relevance in my life. He's a nobody.
Poor fucking Johnny Grishada.
Non-believers want to say, you know, they're so morally better than religious people. Dan, as a non-believer, what answer do you have?
I made.
You know, I've met some that are fantastic people, and then I've met quite a lot of them that are pieces of shit.
Now, does John May fall in the nice category or the naughty category?
Everything about him is like, I got two names.
Is he on the naughty or nice
three.
list for Christmas?
And
That's
we'll
the
put it this
question
way,
I have.
I've got record of him having 4 different fucking names in fucking 5 years. So he changes his fucking name.
You know, yeah, I mean,
quicker than the fucking weather.
Is Bulldog hostile? Yes, he is. Yes, he fucking is, man.
But what makes a man hostile like that? Like, what exactly is it? Just is it my creationist beliefs? Is that what it is? It's just that I believe in God.
He got caught out, and now
obviously
he's saying that I'm the one who's fucking hostile, and he's the one who's fucking walking around with a fucking AK-47, and he goes, "Oh, but it's photoshopped."
Well, I mean, it looks sharp to me, man.
Yeah, Mr. fucking Faker.
He thinks it's real?
But
he's talking about the Photoshop picture.
When someone fucking comes on fucking here and they use his name, he goes, oh, foul play. Someone's impersonating me.
You know, John May, I know John May is talking, so the broadcast is going to hear both of us, so the live stream is going to sound like we're talking over each other. That's good. I don't want people to actually hear what he's saying. So matter of fact, I'm just going to keep talking for no reason. Just keep talking. John May is a fucking idiot. John May.
Actually, I know how to fucking hear him.
Has no worth. John May is a mistake.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Welcome to the room, Mark. How are you?
Gaddafi with his AK-47.
Shit.
Fuck me.
Sure, yeah. Bulldog, he's so fucking awesome. Yeah.
No match for me.
He's the bee's knees.
hell.
Yeah, bulldog.
They know.
Oh yeah, I put respect to his name. Sure, I put a
Yeah, hang on
fucking
a
AK
second,
to
I've
his
gotta
fucking
find-
name. That's what I do.
But honestly, man, I don't think Bulldog comes even close to, you know, the nastiest atheists I've ever met.
That's true.
I mean,
That's
this.
Nah. Oh yeah. John Grishala, the Mr. fucking honest boy, right? Mr. fucking he's so fucking honest. Never done anybody any harm.
I mean, he's
in his
gonna look. I
fucking
mean, his
life.
children. He says he has children, and they're gonna look back to this video when they grow
no
up.
one's done any fucking.
And they're gonna say, "What type of father was this to act like this to another human being, to talk to another person on the internet like this?"
John Wayne.
Yes, I'm a Nazi.
fucking
How did you know?
Grishala. Fucking what other Nazi?
I'll come to you, you little, and fucking smash you in your head, blood.
Oh yeah, that's a very lovely, wonderful, nice thing to do to another human being.
Especially to a Nazi, man. You dirty cunt.
Yeah. Are you
I've gotta listen to
Antifa?
this on
You're
fucking YouTube.
Antifa?
That's what I'll do.
I'm on what?
Antifa.
I'm fucking.
The
Nah, mate,
liberals.
I'm fucking.
The liberals who
I'm
go around
fucking,
killing
not-
people.
I'm alt-light, mate.
You're a white man, okay.
Alt-light.
Oh, all right. Oh, all right. I thought he said white man.
no, he's
alt-light.
alt-light, yeah.
Alt-light, not alt-light.
Alt-right? Yeah, sure.
Alt-light. Fucking.
Oh,
hell, just
light. Alt-light. I'm sorry, your
Pep-
palmy accent, I can't really understand you too well.
Pepsi Light, right?
Maybe if you take your cock out your mouth, you might understand.
Well, that wouldn't do anything to my hearing since a cock is a thing that
No,
comes-
do something to your speech, though. Yeah, do something to your speech, right?
My speech, okay.
But yeah, John, here's your chance to take back your threat to Bulldog.
Oh, no, the threat, you know what? What do you mean?
I mean, you said he would kill him, right?
I mean, in my, like he says, I live in a fantasy world. In my fantasy world, sure, I would love to just get rid of
there we
Bulldog.
go. In your fantasy world, all right.
That's what he says. I live in a fantasy world where I have a AK-47 in my hand. I play dress up. Okay, we'll play kill him. How are you, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for coming by. And if you can support the channel, one-time donation to PayPal, that would be great. PayPal.me/Yohanan770, or you can buy a T-shirt. I love Torah, Jewish Lives Matter, got Torah. All the links are in the description. Please check them out. Let's get this party going. Let's burn a Quran, baby. It's a little bit of a pre-show. We're going to show the uncut. This is the We're making the Burn Quran video day. A video. And, you know, there's the Quran. Make sure you give a good little step. There's the fire starter. We're getting the smoldering here. Really nice. What do we got? What do we use? Who's sponsoring the show? Anyone sponsoring the show? Jihad,
Kingsford.
Kingsford, yeah. Oh.
Kingsford charcoal.
Yeah, get some kindling, get some things going. It's a beautiful
Trust me,
day.
I know how to burn shit.
It's a beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful day to burn a Quran. You know, it was a beautiful day, 9/11, you know, September 11, 2001. It was a beautiful day. No one knew anything. And then people just decided to go a little mashugana, fly planes in the buildings. And you do it because people get too serious. You know, you draw a cartoon of some pedophile prophet, Muhammad, Yimach Shemo, burning in hell, Baruch Hashem.
A little piss on my hands.
A little piss on the hands. We did a couple of skits today. We did one where piss, you know, using it as a wee-wee pad.
Get in the,
oh, this is the, oh yeah.
There we go. Nice and hateful.
Nice and hateful.
Get it nice and saturated.
Get it upside
and you're
down.
going to want to move anything flammable away from where we are right now.
Okay. We have someone unnamed on the scene. He doesn't want to be in, you know, they might come for him. But we have it upside down. We have it upside
shit.
down.
Well, can't fix it now.
Oh, fuck.
Alright.
Virginia Beach. I spent time in Miami Beach. That's man, rich area. A lot of hot
I'm
women.
on vacation to Fresno here soon to go see my buddy Lo.
There you go. Allah will establish and strengthen those who believe. Oh, great. I have the strength to go like this and then go right into here.
It would have been funny if you had careful not to put it out. You almost
Nah, fire's all right.
have like an Alex Jones moment where he's threw the thing in the pickle jar, like he popped it, and then he can't actually open it. And it's like, I'd say it's not scripted. Would have been funny if you couldn't pull the page out.
We're not getting people coming in. I think people are a little afraid to come in and show their little tootsies on camera supporting the show.
They're watching, they're just not saying anything.
Yeah.
You see the view count.
Like people think we might be faking it. Nope. Look at the Quran. It's been tattered.
You didn't pay too much for that, did you?
I think it was $10.
Yeah.
It was a good little $10.
I told somebody on whose stream was it on this morning that I was on? Speed of Sound of Gravity. I was on his thing, and somebody was like, "You shouldn't burn books," and I was like, "It's a symbol." There's what, a billion of these things?
I actually do agree with that. I don't think, in principle, you shouldn't burn books. I mean, in a way, it's wrong.
Well, I said, you know,
But just like it's wrong to fly planes in the buildings, but people still do it.
Well, we didn't kill anybody. It's just one book. We didn't burn them all. I mean,
well, here, go on to what you said. It's a symbol.
Right.
Of what you're doing right now.
Right. It's symbolic.
It's a symbol of our disagreement with the contents within the.
You could disagree, but be honorable about it. You don't have to take it to violence. You don't take it to anger.
You know, you have to say kill a cartoonist because you were upset, or order a fatwa.
Oh yeah, you know about that, right? They drew a picture of Muhammad. They killed the guy for it. Yeah.
We did draw Muhammad Day. I should bring down the drawings on there. You'll be horrified. You
know. Oh boy, anything good here? No. Let's see.
Anything good in there? Nope.
Nah.
I thought Ron Jeremy was
Oh, Ron Jeremy. Oof, that might be offensive to someone that's listening.
Oh, we do have somebody in. Hold on,
oh, we do?
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
Oh, it's P. Mars.
Oh, P. Mars. Great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by. That was the episode of the Burn Grande. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had really lots of fun. We will put the unfiltered version on BitTube, BitChute. If you could support the channel, paypal.me/Johanan770. Or you could buy a t-shirt at Gishla store at theteespring.com. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming by. Hope you're well. Bye-bye.
Let's try to record this a second time with my mic correctly selected. I wanted to do this video last night. I'm busy at the moment. As you can see, I'm doing my morning davening, but I wanted to do this video real quick to people running their mouth. I'm so sick of hearing about Noah's flood, Noah's Ark, God killed all the babies, God killed all the pregnant women, they drowned, everyone drowned and everyone died. The fact of the matter is, not one person died in Noah's flood. That's a correct statement. Not no one died in Noah's flood. Noah's flood, God put the entire world, the entire planet, into a big mikveh. That's what happened. God let the upper waters come down, right? Because in a mikveh, you have to have natural water. You can't just take a scoop water and put it in a tub and then go into it. That's not how it has to be. It has to be natural. It has to be from heaven. So the upper waters came from the lower waters and submerged the entire planet. The entire planet was put in a mikveh. Mikveh. You don't die when you get in the mikveh. You don't go. What is a mikveh? Why does it say end of all flesh and all this other typology? What is a mikveh? What's the purpose of a mikveh? A mikveh is to be cleansed. It's to be purified. Okay? Or in another sense, it could be born again. You go in a mikveh to convert. You go in a mikveh to to remove tamei or impurity. I don't understand how difficult this is. This is what happens when you just have goyish mishigash and you listen to just Gentile garbage, Gentile nonsense all your life, and you listen to these people who have no idea what anything is talking about in the Torah, because the Torah is a Jewish book about Jewish topics, about Jewish subjects, and these people run their mouths like they know something. They don't know anything. They don't know their head from their ass. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please. I had a phone number here. I don't know. I had to get a new one. Unfortunately, people were, using it. So, anyway, take care, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, take care. Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, comment, rate, and subscribe. Facebook, blog, Twitter, and Twitch. Which microphone are we on? Oh, the headset mic? Okay, great. We're going to do a video of safeguards against sexual immorality. We're going to do, of course, the intro, the Twitter, the phone number, the Gmail. That Gmail, by the way, that's how you get to the that's how you get added to the Thursday night Torah Saturday. You add me. Go to hangouts.com. hangouts.google.com and add me through that email, and you'll be able to get invited in. All right, we're going to do a little, in this week's Torah portion, we're in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, and we're in the Parsha Balak. Balak was a Gentile king who hired Balaam, the prophet, the Gentile prophet, to curse the Jewish people, to Israel. And so, in this week's Torah portion, we learn about a lot of sexual deviant behaviors. They went away after their own desires, and the men lusted after the women. So it says here, we read in the Torah portion. Here we go. In the Torah portion of Balak, we read about how the Jews sinned with the daughters of Moab. This sin led to a plague that killed 24,000 Jewish people. Our sages teach that the daughters of Moab enticed the Jewish people by dressing indecent behavior that is alien to the Jewish traditional values. Midrash states that when the children of Israel went down to Egypt, they behaved with modesty, each person living in their own tent. As the verse states, each man according to his household came. Reuben did not look at Simon's wife, nor did Simon look at Reuben's wife. Rather, each man lived modestly within his own tent. Even when the population of the men numbered 600,000 in the desert, no one placed... not one place had the opening of the tent opposite of the opening of the friends' tents. So even the tents' openings were different. That's how modest they were. So if you opened your tent to walk out, you didn't, see Simon's wife, little titties, whatever. Our sages established various safeguards to protect us against this immoral behavior. They recognize that in order to overcome natural temptations, a person must control his sight and thoughts, the faculties through which can lead us to astray. Do not follow after after your heart, after what your eyes see. Right? The Bible says that a number of times. Protect your eyes, protect your heart. You could.
So we're going to read here, according to Maimonides, Rambam, the most common cause of forbidden union is a man and a woman, not married to each other, being seduced together in a private setting for a thought-provoking article on his subject. I also see friends divorce. Okay, so, being with a woman. Things get happening, you're talking, you're having a little l'chaim, you get a drinking. Next thing you know, you're knocking boots. Okay. Most authorities consider it a Torah violation for a Jewish man and a woman who are forbidden to marry one another to be secluded together at any time, meaning a man together with a married woman. King David established an additional prohibition forbidding any unmarried man and woman, even if they are not forbidden from marrying each other, to be seduced together. So let's say you're two single guys, two single girls, maybe not such a thing to do, such as being seclusion referred to as Yachud. The court of Shammai and Hillel added that the Jewish man may also not be secluded with a Gentile woman. So even a shiksa can't even be alone with a shiksa. Who knew? There are following are 7 related details of this law. So it talks about this in great detail. A man may not be alone with a girl above the age of 3. A woman may not be alone with a boy above the age of 9. There is no upper age limit to these prohibitions, so it doesn't stop at 70 or something. If a man and woman are in an area which is visible from the public thoroughfare, or an area is open to the public, such as someone may enter at any time, it is not considered a place of seclusion, basically. You don't have to worry about Yachud. These prohibitions apply to a single person, even if they're dating each other, engaged until they are actually married. So even if you're engaged, she's my wife-to-be, I'm not allowed to be secluded along with her. Additional laws of Lukhud could be the scope of the argument. So we're going to continue a little bit. Purity in speech. Purity in sight. Sorry. Oh no, speech. Yeah, speech from insight. One should not converse excessively with members of the opposite sex. So if you're a boy, you can't really talk with a girl. Not with a boy. Certainly one may not talk with anyone about topics that may lead to sinful thoughts. So this is, you can't talk about pornography with someone. This is not good, right? You could maybe talk about a baseball game. Okay. A man may not inquire about the welfare of a woman. May not inquire about the welfare of a woman in a manner that shows that he is attracted to her, but is inquired permissible if it stems from a general concern about her well-being, merely from politeness. So, man, I really dig that. How's your sister? A digger. I'm really concerned about how she's doing. Things like that. Purity in sight. Since men are easily aroused by visual stimulation, our sages forbid a man to look at any woman, even her pinky, for the purpose of enjoying her beauty, and certainly if she dresses immodestly. In fact, if one knows that there will be women dressed immodest on a particular road, it is advised not to take that road, unless there's no alternative route. So we can't even look up at a woman if she's, she's known. She wears a low-cut blouse. She's known to do so. You got to look away. Can't go there. Couldn't go to those places. A man may not even look at colored garments of a woman he knows, even if she is not wearing them. You see her clothing on the floor. A man should not walk behind a woman. Rather, he should walk on the side or overtake her, meaning to go past her. Similarly, a man may not smell the perfume that a woman who is forbidden to him is wearing. So, I can't have my sister, I can't have my mother, I can't have these particular women. If I'm being aroused by the perfume of them, so to speak, maybe that's not good. Purity in sound. A man may not listen to the voice of a woman singing other than the wife or the family members of immediate family. A man may not also listen to a recording of a woman singing if he has seen her pictures once. Some authorities have forbid a man to listen to a recording of a woman singing if he even if he never saw her. But I mean, to listen to music, I mean, that's a tough question to answer. Some say you shouldn't. Purity and touch. A man may not hug or kiss a woman other than his wife, with the exception of one's grandmother, mother, daughter, daughters. Daughters, I mean. Purity and thought. One may not enter the thought of sin. If the sinful thought enters one's head, he should immediately turn his thoughts to a holy matter. Okay, good. The best way to achieve purity in thought is by filling one's mind with Torah study and holy thoughts. In other words of Maimonides, a person should always turn himself and his thoughts to the words of Torah to expand his thoughts, knowledge and wisdom. And for his thoughts, a forbidden relationship grows strong solely in the heart, which is empty of wisdom. So if you're empty in wisdom, maybe you're filled with lust. One who succeeds in remaining pure in these matters is considered holy. So we have some footnotes here people want to read. This is where we get it. Scroll down a little bit. All right. So that's very interesting. You know, that's a lot of things. People don't realize how powerful the Torah really is, and these things that we have to do. You know, if Harvey Weinstein, you know, he's a rapist, a predator. You know, he's supposed to be a Jew. If he only, if he only did what the Lord has told him to do, right? It's his Torah, it's his Bible. If he only kept to the laws of, he's supposed to be a good person. He's supposed to be a decent person, but he's acting like an animal. So therefore, when he's secluded with people, he's secluded with a woman here, there, he's taking advantage of them. Because he's deprived of Torah. Deprived of holiness. He's not a holy guy. So thank you for coming by. Do we have any questions, comments, and complaints? I do appreciate the viewership, appreciate the comments.
Hi guys, given the rapidly changing landscape that's taking place in the life of Imam Sheikh Muhammad Tawhidi, we decided to move our chat to today. Welcome Imam, how are you doing?
Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Shalom my brother. I'm doing really well, thank you very much.
عن جد متشرف انه عم بتعرف عليك اليوم. شكرا انه قبلت عزيمتي.
حياك الله, لي الشرف.
شكرا حبيبي. I just said it's a pleasure to meet the Imam, and I thank him for having accepted my invitation. Okay, so Imam, I first became aware of you, as I guess the world did, in your infamous lecture where you were basically saying, look, I mean, we escaped the Middle East, 30 years ago, and here we are now in Australia, and we're seeing the slow Islamization of Australia, which is something that I've discussed also in the context of my reality in Montreal. And I guess that started off you getting a lot of heat for having dared say that. But then secondly, you started talking about, the need to reform Islam. Let's start with the first part. Can you share with us your feelings about what is happening in Australia right now?
With regards to Australia, firstly, Australia, I can safely say that is probably the most successful multicultural country on earth, because we were built based upon diversity. We managed to change a lot of what had happened within the history of Australia with regards to the British coming to Australia, and then the conflict that they had with the Aboriginal community. We've managed to move on. Now we have the Aboriginals part of our parliament system. They are part of the formation of laws that we as Australians follow. And we've become a very multicultural country. We've allowed the Italians, the Arabs, the Iranians, people from all walks of life are welcome in this country. However, in the past, let's say 15 to 20 years, things have been very, I don't want to say challenging, because we knew this was going to happen at some point if we were to have unmonitored multiculturalism. I want to say in the past 15 to 20 years, the true agendas of several governments showed their true colors. You have a hidden agenda, then you have a real agenda. When radicalism is just openly in your face, on your streets, in your schools, publicly opposing the Western way of life, Western democracy. Past 15 to 20 years, we've seen this. And now we've reached the stage where we had the Sydney siege and the Melbourne siege 3 days ago. And it looks like it's, well, God forbid, we don't want to see a country such as Australia with the word siege after every state. And I really worry about what's happening. But at the same time, we have a powerful government. We have a powerful intelligence security when it comes to Australia. But we cannot deny the fact that we are dealing with a group of it's an unorganized group of determined radicals that are going around there and attacking people for no reason.
So how has the Australian intelligentsia responded to this? Is it very similar to the rest of the West, where they bury their head in the sand, no, there is no problem, and all the usual platitudes that you hear from the progressives? Or are they somewhat more attuned to the realities that you are preaching?
With regards to the politicians, we have different politicians, just like every other country, the left and the right, it's typical. But when it comes to the intelligence, they're not influenced by any political motives in this country. It's a neutral body that is run by well-experienced people, and they've assured us safety. And currently, we have around 300 to 400 people under police watch. And in reality, the people that are undertaking these terrorist attacks were supposedly to be under watch. But I just think that exceptions happen. Every now and then, exceptions happen. Because, as I said, when dealing with terrorists, they're coming from a background which is unknown. We don't know how these people get radicalized. You really don't know. I mean, a police officer by the name of Curtis Chang in Sydney was shot dead by a 15-year-old, a Muslim, who had just started to go to the mosque for 2 weeks. And you know what 2 weeks means? It means 2 Friday sermons. That's what it means.
Those are some powerful sermons.
Yeah. If you can sit there for 40 minutes and the first time you start thinking about killing an officer, and then the second time you start planning, then we need to shut these mosques down. But because we don't know the real problem, what is it? Is it the school? Is it the madrasa? Is it the family? Is it the illegal satellite dishes, which you would know of, that bring in all of these channels from the Middle East? You don't really see any form of organization that you can just easily ban. They pop out of nowhere, and these are exceptions, and we have to find new ways to tackle. And the police can only be successful as if we own up to the problem and start reporting people we see getting radicalized in the community.
Now, radicalized is oftentimes used as a euphemism, as though there's sort of some magical mechanism by which people get radicalized, but we have no idea where it comes from. So let me start asking some sensitive questions, especially since I'm speaking to an imam and an Islamic scholar. I mean, ultimately, people don't get radicalized because they read my books or because they read Harry Potter. They get radicalized because they ultimately somehow interact with and understand the contents of the various holy books of Islam, whether it be the Quran, the Hadith, the Sirah. So let's get down to the theological question. Do you, as part of your solution, do you see, and which leads us to the second point that you were making about reforming Islam, do you see specific ways by which we could go into these texts and reform them in such a way that no sensible person could ever read them and arrive at a violent conclusion? Is this feasible? Is this plausible?
I'm a realist, and as serious as this may sound, we cannot reform the Hadith, because the Hadith is basically a compilation of sayings where a man 200 years after the Prophet Muhammad came out of nowhere and said, Bukhari, he's from Bukhara, from Iran. He was nowhere near Mecca or Medina. He comes out of nowhere 200 years later and writes the most sacred book after the Quran and that becomes the law for the whole Muslim ummah. How, why, since when, who voted, what's going on. There's no criteria that needs to be met when it comes to these books. And I cannot deal with the Bukhari. Look, when I open the Bukhari and it tells me, as a Muslim, and I'm a Shi'i, but I spent a good 12 years of my life being trained and taught by Sunni Muslim imams. And I traveled to Iran, and that's where I got my advanced Islamic studies by the Shi'i school of thought. There are many Sunni Muslims within my family, and I have a very balanced view when it comes to these things. I don't identify as a Shi'i or a Sunni. I dress like a Shi'i because that's the uniform that I graduated in. And but I don't identify as a Shi'i or Sunni. I identify as a Muslim. I follow the Prophet Muhammad, my version of the Prophet Muhammad, that I have found to be suitable. We'll get to that. I'm pretty sure you're going to ask me about that.
I am going to ask you about that.
Yeah. But with regards to the hadith, if I open the book, and it's nothing to do with Shia or Sunni, I open the book and it tells me, as a Muslim, go to a Christian, go to a Jew, and tell him to accept Islam. If they don't accept Islam, kill them. If they accept, still kill them, because the Jews and Christians are liars. How do I deal with such a book? That is a formula of terrorism, which is why I've used it to put some height for my microphone, because it's weak. But yeah, we have formulas of terrorism. I had to mention just to explain to the people what's going on here. But we have serious books that do not deserve any type of respect, and the Muslims agree.
So you would be a literal Quranist. Basically, all the other holy books as part of the trilogy, you would drop those and you would say, if you wish to be a true, practitioner of Islam, just turn to the Quran and drop the other stuff. I mean, is that the ultimate solution that you're proposing?
I say 90% of the books of Hadith, drop them completely and focus on the minority of Hadith that we have that tell us to fast and love for your brother what you love for yourself, and the good side of Hadith, which actually agrees with logic and modern society and coexisting with other people from other religions. Take those Hadiths, and even after you've taken them, strictly filter them. We have the Ilm al-Rijal, Ilm al-Hadith, Ilm al-Diraya, all of these sciences of Hadith, how you filter them, the authenticity of the narrators, the authenticity of the chain of narrators, who they were they liars, were they crooks, were they known for misinterpreting or misquoting statements in the past. We need to actually filter the Hadith before accepting it. Otherwise, we're just going to be a nation that we're lost, and we can't have that really. And with regards to the Quran being the Quran, I follow the Quran. However, we don't need the Hadith, we don't need the Bukhari to interpret what the Quran means. Look, when the Quran says, وَعَدُّوا لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ, and show them every type of power and force that you have to scare them and put fear in their hearts. I know exactly it's obvious, it's a story that God was speaking to his prophets regarding a specific matter in time. Religions have war, nations have war, and they were speaking about a specific time. It's history. And I said this to many people before. If you engage in a game and you get inspired by the game, like Grand Theft Auto, you don't go on the street and start pulling up cars and shooting people, because that's not what it's about. It's a story. It's history. It shows you the development of Islam, that we can actually look past that and say, okay, look at where we've reached. We can now hug the Jew, eat with the Christian, love the Buddhist, and so on.
You know I'm Jewish, right? So can we still go on with this interview, or are you damned to hell?
No, in fact, I might go to heaven. In fact, for this. Yes.
Okay, let me push back a bit on your perspective. So my feeling is, and of course you'll correct me if I'm wrong, you're much more of an expert on this than I am, is that people's individual goodness, right? So for example, if you are someone, you Imam Tawhidi, who you believe in peace, you believe in loving the Jews, you believe in loving the gays, so you will incorporate your idiosyncratic humanity Because remember when you said, this is what I wish to believe about Prophet Muhammad. See, I call this unicorn Islam, or others call it cafeteria Islam, right? Whereby you pick and choose those elements that are consistent with your own moral compass, and you say, I would love those, right? There are many elements of Islam that are strictly spiritual, that are beautiful, that are lovely messages. I'm going to believe in those, say Meccan period versus Medinan period. And all that other stuff, well, I'm going to find a way to do, all kinds of manipulations to reinterpret them, contextualize them, put them in a historical context. But do the doctrines themselves allow for the version that you are hoping for? Or would it always be a defeatist initiative because the doctrines don't support your lofty position?
Within Islam, we have a problem, or I have a problem with the interpretations of at least 90% of the current interpretations of the Quran. So the problem with Islam and the understanding of the Quran is actually within 90% of our books. There are many minorities. Don't forget, we have 73 denominations within Islam. There are many minorities that see the Prophet differently, and that see the Quran differently, that see Hadith differently, and therefore my understanding isn't my personal understanding as a result of cherry picking. In reality, it's a understanding of a large majority within Iraq, within Iran, who believe that Prophet Muhammad did not marry a 6-7-year-old. In fact, she was 20. There is another understanding, another study of the Prophet Muhammad. The problem with our version of the Prophet Muhammad, which is believed in by 5% of the Muslim population, is basically because only a minority believe in this. And the other minority believes in that he married a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. Therefore, the whole nation the whole Muslim nation encourages child brides because, hey, the Prophet did it. And there'll be many other things that has been justified within the Middle East only because the Imams tell them the Prophet did it. Right. Whereby there is no real evidence for that.
But Muhammad is insan al-kamil, right? The perfect human being, and to be emulated in all possible ways. Now, if we start with that premise, then we're a bit in a doctrinal corner, because if you wish to use reason and say, well, here are 7 things that he did that were wonderful, but here are 4 things that, well, maybe I'm not so keen on, then you are forced, if you're still going to stick to the idea that he is the perfect human, to do all sorts of mental gymnastics to say, oh no, but this was misinterpreted, it was mistranslated, no, you didn't understand, if you understood it this way. So, in other words, isn't it also possible that it becomes a game of gymnastics because you wish to protect these words so carefully that you can't actually use reason? In other words, can you not find some things that Muhammad did that you, as a man of the 21st century, would say, I reject those behaviors? Or you wouldn't be comfortable saying that? He is the perfect man to be emulated forever.
Firstly, I'll just set one law, because I cannot change the laws I believe in. If I was a Muslim, or if I became an atheist or a Christian or a Jewish, as a human being, we have laws. If there's a figure in history that commits atrocities, we will reject it completely. Completely. We don't disagree on that at all. If there's a figure that is a terrorist, we will reject. However, going back to what you just said, that Muhammad, according to the Muslims, is a well-respected, perfect figure. According to our school of thought, he is infallible. He does not sin. When we have this as the base for our own understanding, then it becomes very easy for us to completely reject all of the wrong things in history that are attributed to him. If you notice my wording, I said attributed, because if we have built the foundation that Jesus, Moses, and Muhammad are infallibles, why? Because they need to be infallible. Infallibility, in our understanding, is a tool in order that they may be able to convey the message. All of God's messengers from Abraham up down to Prophet Muhammad. And if we submit to the fact that they are infallible, then Jesus cannot be of illegitimate birth, Moses cannot be a liar, and Muhammad cannot be a terrorist. Yes, there are many.
So they were wrongly attributed to them. So it's not so in some cases we will argue that something is misinterpreted or misunderstood. And I'm not being facetious, I'm really trying to understand your thinking. In other cases, it's if we say that Moses did such and such and we find it distasteful, then we use the sort of broad shoulders of it was wrongly attributed to him so that we can maintain his infallibility. Is that the general idea?
Yes, and until now, we have managed to actually filter all of the statements that have been attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, all of the hadith, and they are all weak. According to the science of hadith, there is no strong evidence for the majority of the actual, let's say, I don't want to say accusations, but reports, historical reports attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, and which is why I can have a conversation with you. Because if I were to stick to this formula of terrorism that tells me to kill Brother Gadsad, I can't have a Skype with you. But we come and we say that this is wrong. We have to say, why? Because there's no evidence for it. It's just a report. Who said it? The author. Who is the author? Did he see the Prophet? Did he live with the Prophet? It's not. The author said so. So it's very logical for us to say the author has a mental illness, because it's not one volume, it's 4 volumes, and they're all, in Arabic we say mashhoon, it's all charged with these hateful statements against other people. Why do I say that? Because these books of hadith, the one thing many people ignore is that these books contradict themselves. They contradict themselves and they contradict each other. So you'll have in the same book where it says the Prophet used to go and he used to love his Jewish neighbor. Why? Because they want to paint a beautiful image that the Prophet is the merciful Muhammad. And then 2 pages down the track, the Prophet beheaded 800 Jews. So make up your mind.
Khaybar ya Yahud. Khaybar ya Yahud, right?
Yes, I get that question all the time.
Yeah, but okay, so again, forgive me, you are an imam, so I want to tread carefully and respectfully.
Please,
can you not argue that there are many passages in the Quran? Because I sense that your strategy and your ire is to focus on the hadith and maybe the seerah and say, okay, let's remove that stuff, and then if we only focus on the Quran, we could have a more tame, more gentle, more peaceful, more respectful religion that can be that could coexist with others. But then can't I go to the Quran and look for things that you and I might perhaps with our current 21st century eyes view as distasteful? Can't I go into the Quran and find contradictions? I mean, the whole idea of abrogation, and of course I'm saying this not to you because you obviously know it, but to our viewers, the concept of abrogation in Islam comes from the fact that when you have in the Meccan period do A, and then in the Medinan period do not A, therefore you have a contradiction. Well, God, why would he have these 2 opposing statements? Well, then you have the mechanism of abrogation whereby the later verse abrogates, nullifies the earlier verse. So even within the Quran, you have contradictions, and we've come up with a trick of abrogation to make them consistent. So it's not as though whatever problems you are pointing to would only be found in the hadith, no?
I've said this before when it comes to the matter of abrogation and understanding the Holy Quran. Firstly, I agree on what you said initially, that there will be many verses we will find very distasteful, and I guess that's the matter with all books when it comes to divine theology and doctrine. All of these books have these swords and formulas on how to treat the hostages, and when it comes to spoils of war, and it can get really graphical sometimes, and it's not something you would want someone outside your religion to point out to you. I don't have a problem with that. I will look at it and I will explain. When it comes to the matter of abrogation, brother, I always say this. We have, look, Bukhari wrote 4 volumes. He has 4 volumes and he's written more. God wrote 1 book. I'm pretty sure God has more to say than the Bukhari. The fact that God's books, whether it be the Bible or the Torah or the Quran, because we believe in the Suhuf of Abraham and the books that came from with all messengers, God has more to say to that very nation than just 300, 400 pages. That being said, with that in mind, we now know that these 300 to 400 pages need some sort of deducting in order that we may form the law jurisprudence of that very faith. With all of what we have, the scholars and the seminaries and the thinkers and the enlightened people and the reformers, you're going to get really clashing views on even one ruling. The problem that we are living in right now with abrogation is that you come to Tawheedi and you say, Tawheedi, the Holy Quran says this. Why are you so peaceful? I say because the Quran says be peaceful, and these verses, the violent verses, are actually, they point out a specific time when Islam was a minority religion, whereas Judaism and Christianity were more established as religions. Islam being a minority religion, these are some strict verses or even motivational verses in order that they may be able to defend themselves against the idolaters of Quraysh and so on. And don't forget, most of the armies of the Prophet Muhammad did not exceed 300, 500, they were in the hundreds. And even 50 years after the Prophet Muhammad, when his grandson Hussein was killed, he only had 72 people to stick up for him. And that's why we mourn and we're saddened by that. So we've always been a minority within that region up until the Prophet died, and then his grandsons came, and then they were also massacred. But it spread by the sword during the time of the caliphs. We'll get to that. But ISIS also uses the Quran to justify its acts. And the Ahmadiyya also just use the Quran to justify their peace.
But that's my point about unicorn cafeteria Islam, right?
It's more of an interpretation that forms a denomination.
But let's say the 4 schools of Islamic jurisprudence in Sunni Islam and whatever equivalent version in Shia Islam, none of those would ever say, well, when it comes to Jews, God damn, I love those Jews. What can I do to honor and love and respect those Jews? What can I do to love and respect those homosexuals? I'm not aware of any Islamic jurisprudence that arrives to that conclusion, right? Because otherwise one would have to argue that over the past 1400 years, there is a bunch load of Islamic thinkers, all of whom have misrepresented their religion in exactly the same direction. That's a big sell to make, no?
When it comes to dealing with other nations and just what you stated, no, we do have teachings. We do have teachings, the same teachings of Jesus and Moses, a love for your brother, what you love for yourself, were also preached by the Prophet Muhammad and also his successors. Imam Ali has a famous saying where he says, human beings are either your brothers in faith or your equals in humanity. And many verses in the Holy Quran don't say, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun, oh believers in this book. It says, Ya ayyuhan nas, oh people. So in the matter of equality and loving other people, along with the verses that suggest or that state, he who kills someone innocent, it's as if he has killed the whole of humanity together. This, when the Quran emphasizes that shedding blood is not a virtuous thing, it's wrong, it shouldn't be done, we need to point the finger at the scholars, at the imams, and even at the caliphs, even the companions of Prophet Muhammad. I go to that extent. Even those that are red lines in Islam, we need to drag them into questioning as to what on earth were you thinking that because you understood a specific verse in a specific way, you went and you butchered and you killed and you massacred just to spread the message of Islam. Now we have a whole religion, a denomination following you. So for me, it's very easy to denounce the majority of sacred interpretations to get back to the very original, let's say, message of Islam, which says respect Jesus, respect Moses, and respect their followers. Because it's very logical. Muhammad couldn't have rocked up in Mecca and said, listen, I have a book, it says kill everyone. No one will follow him. It's as simple as that.
But that's what happened, right? So when he in Mecca, when he was sort of doing the peace and love stuff, I don't know how, was it 8 years or 13 years? How, I can't remember the exact
13.
number. 13. So during that period, I think he had 150 followers, right? Then he moves to Medina. The message becomes
23 followers in 13 years.
23?
Outside his family. If you're going to include his family, then it's the whole of Quraysh. The whole of Bani Hashim.
Okay, so basically, he wasn't very successful those first 13 years. Then he goes to Medina, the message becomes a lot more, less peaceful, let's put it, and then suddenly he gets a lot more popular. So, in a sense, you'd have to now come up with sort of a new supra-abrogation, I mean, in a doctrinal sense, whereby the violent stuff is now re-abrogated to the Meccan period. I mean, in other words, what tools would you use so that everyone would agree with your vision? Is there a set of keys, doctrinal keys, that one can use to resolve this conundrum?
Brother God, I'm not here defending Islam or defending my prophet or defending at all. I'm clarifying the way we see things, which is always subject to debate. With regards to Mecca and Medina, in Islam, the time where the Prophet was in Mecca, he was that poor Muhammad who was basically the kick around of Arabia. People accused him of being a psychopath, insane, liar, wizard, and so on. In Medina, he was the ruler. In Medina, this is politics. He had a government. In that sense, I don't believe the Prophet Muhammad had a government at all. And I don't believe that he ever ruled. But the Muslims love this Islamic government business, whereby I don't believe he had a government. And I have my research on this field. When he was in Medina, it was much more established as a religion. And with Baytul Mal, meaning now he's got a economic wing for his establishment. And also the trained followers, where you have an army now. He didn't really have an army, but whenever he needed to defend himself, there were people that knew how to fight. And don't forget, even in Mecca and Medina, he was still a minority amongst the people. And therefore, it's very normal for the Romans, which they did, for the Romans to attack the Prophet many times, to attack him, invade. Why? Because he was posing a threat. He was posing a threat to their economy. He was posing a threat to their gods. The basic Islamic banking system that says no interest. Like, you're ruining the whole region when you come up with such a thing. And the Arabs in the Holy Quran, it clearly states in the Quran, رحلة الشتاء والصيف, the travels of the winter and the summer, which means that these nations would interact during these seasons to trade whatever products were grown or made during that season. And the Islam came and said no interest, no riba, none of this, none of that. So how are people going to live? Islam came up with a very strict tone, very demanding tone. So the Prophet Muhammad didn't say, listen, I don't want you guys to, he didn't, when it came to Islam, let's look at who he came to. He came to a group of ignorant people. I mean, they were burying their daughters alive. They weren't graduates from Oxford University. So he had to deal with that mentality. And the Quran itself says to the Prophet, look, this is divine revelation. So when I say the Quran says to the Prophet, it basically means Archangel Gabriel came down and told the Prophet, and when he comes down, the Prophet's blood pressure goes up and he starts to sweat, and this whole procedure that we were taught. And then he tells him the very important statement. can you please tell your guys to enter the house from the front door? يدخل البيوت من أبوابها. Can you please enter the house from the front door? Like, what on earth were they doing? How else would you go inside your house?
Right.
And this is tell the believers, not the ignorance of Mecca. So they were already Muslims. Like, this is the level of intellect we were dealing with. And they were burying their daughters alive. So when Islam came, it didn't say, please, can you kindly not do this, not kill your daughter. No, Islam came and said, if you kill your daughter, you go to hell. Why? Because psychologically, and you would know, if you warn someone several times and they don't stop doing that wrong thing, and then you semi-threat, you give them a small threat, that if you do that, you're going to go to hell. You do that, I'm going to do this to you. When you incite fear, and you warn them that if you continue raping and killing and butchering, hell will await you. In the whole world of theology and doctrine, this makes a lot of sense.
But
this is enough sense, yes.
I mean, one could understand that Islam would take a tough position against, rape and burying your daughter alive and so on. But again, and forgive me for asking this, there are elements of Islam that are very tough that many people, certainly the kuffar, would find not very interesting. So, for example, there is a strain, and that's putting it charitably, of Islamic supremacism in its text, right? I mean, the world will be at peace when we are all united under the flag of Allah, right? I mean, and that's
not really. That's how it's seen.
I mean, okay, so tell me, is that a wrong interpretation? That's the ultimate goal? Okay, why is that?
Look at Saudi Arabia. They're all united under Allah and they're beheading each other. Look at Iran. Look at Iraq. They're all Shia and they're butchering and killing each other. Show me a one good Islamic government so we can believe that if you guys were to rule the world, we will all be at peace.
So all of these guys, so Saudi Arabia with all of its, grand sheikhs and all the guys from Al-Azhar University and all those guys who are preaching, right? I could right now put below our chat, 7,000 different clips from very learned imams and sheikhs and muftis and so on, all of whom would not be interpreting whatever positions you are interpreting or promulgating. What do we say about them? They're not true Muslims. They're misinterpreting. They're misguided. How do we reconcile your hopeful message, which of course is in the minority, with the majority position, which doesn't seem to agree with you? How do we make those congruent with one another?
They don't have to agree with each other.
Okay.
Because the very people that you're referencing, they within their books, they are set to kill us. They believe in the very ideology of Ibn Taymiyyah, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, that says butcher and kill the Shia, butcher and kill even the Sunni that has a meal with the Shia. So why would I want to engage with these people in the first place? They're the ones that are saying Islam is the peaceful system for governance. We say, okay, show us your example. We've given you 1,400 years. You've had many Islamic governments. Show us. In fact, Oman is such a peaceful country, full of Muslims. And don't forget, Oman had the Nabhani dynasty. We're talking a history of Islamic governments in that region. And when the Nabhani dynasty were there, they were all criminals. But Oman managed to develop, and the current sultan who overthrew his father, they managed to develop and become good nations. But yet, he's peaceful because he doesn't claim to be an Islamic leader. It's a Muslim nation, no Islamic leader. Emirates as well. It's beautiful because there's mosques and there's a separation of mosque and state. There's the name of Islam. Beautiful. Show me an Islamic government that is good. Show me one.
So are you saying that they are practicing a version of Islam that you're trying to eradicate, or are you saying that they've been misinterpreting the true Islam? I mean, I take your point, but so what results in that? Why is that happening? How come all of those Islamic societies and countries are not seeing the Islam that you wish to see? Why is that?
It's because I want the Muslims to understand that Islam as a religion was sent to guide people, just like Christianity, just like Judaism. The main purpose for religions is to guide people, not to rule over them with the sword using it.
So you
can't have.
So you believe? Excuse me for interrupting. So you believe that, because I've always said, look, I don't care if you practice Judaism, Islam, Zoroastrian. I don't, as long as it is in the privacy of your home, the privacy of your conscience. The second that you infringe on by 1 inch on the right of another, then it is no longer acceptable. Do you now? Certainly my experience with Islam as somebody who escaped Lebanon during the Civil War, and anything that I've learned since, is that Islam doesn't typically live a tepid existence whereby it says, oh, I just want to practice my religion peacefully while not infringing on anybody else. Typically, it imposes itself in the public sphere. We see it, for example, at the universities now, all over the West. At my own university, the rights of the Muslims are constantly reasserted. We want to separate this, we want that.
Special treatment.
So again, are you saying that there is a way to interpret Islam where this reaffirming of the takeover of the public sphere would not be tolerated under Islam?
I think the main issue we have here isn't the fact that there are Muslims acting in such a way. I think we are mixing between the Islamic teachings and the Islamic culture. We have a culture of Muslims, the authoritarian Arabs, and then we have the Islamic teachings, the culture of the Muslims, which I call the Islamic culture, which is not really the culture of the religion. Yani Hassan Nasrallah, if he was a Christian, he would still be as bad. Any religion you put him in, he's going to do the same thing. Any religion. He's a terrorist.
You just increased your number of death threats by about tenfold. So good luck with that one.
God bless you. I have to say it. I have to say it. I'm glad you're laughing. I have to say it. Yani, there are people whose culture is like that. I mean, they're born like that.
So do you think is this driven? I mean, as somebody, of course, who studies psychology, I'm interested in your thoughts. Not because now you're not talking about religion. You're talking about is the tribal nature of Arab society that might have resulted in what you're talking about, the Islamic culture that has this element of belligerence. Is that your argument, that it's due to the tribal nature of these fractured, tribes? Is that what's causing this belligerence?
I say the culture plays a big role in the religiosity of the individual, regardless of what religion they are from. However, in Islam, because of the close nations with one another, so for example, Israel being a state, is copying a lot of hate from the neighbors. But if we had many Jewish neighbors, the audacity of the Jews would be a lot higher, naturally. The same with the Muslims. We have all of these neighbors who are all Muslims neighboring each other. Therefore, you have a wide geographic spread of this Arab culture. And when religion comes and spreads on top of that, so you have layer over layer. Therefore, mix that with politics, mix that with poverty, mix that with the awaiting savior who they're all awaiting and their preparations for it, mix that with rulers such as Saddam Hussein, everything, put all that together, you can't really possibly expect any peace to come from that at all. So the Quran along the side, with its interpretations, doesn't really help amongst all of this. So I say, instead of going and trying to change the culture of a nation, I know that all of these nations agree on one book. Let's get rid of the violent interpretations of that very book so that we can move on as Arabs, but stay peaceful, stop beheading each other. And as Jews, and let everybody live, and as Christians, and just get along. Because if it comes down to culture, we'll know what we'll be fighting about. It'll be money and land. It won't be because I want you to go to hell.
And women.
Yes. It won't be about hell and heaven.
Right. There's no point having land and having money if it doesn't get you the women. It all boils down to women. That's the most powerful force in nature.
Indeed. Even the suicide bombers. Why? Because they've been promised 72.
Of course. I actually talk about this in my first book where I discuss the fact that many of these the contents of the doctrines could be understood from a very basic biological perspective, right? You know, the female suicide bomber is not promised 72 gorgeous cabana boys with muscles, because we know that the sexual fantasies, if you'd like, of men and women are not necessarily the same. And so you have to have different selling points for the male suicide bomber and the female. It's basic evolutionary psychology.
The women also get men. They call,
Oh, that right?
Yes, in the very verse, it states حور عين ولدان مخلدون. So there are men that will last for forever.
Oh, that they're sexually potent. You mean that
you can interpret it that way? I'll say they live forever.
They live forever. That's right. They will live forever.
This here is we just interpreted one verse in two different ways. So you can think of it that way. I can think of it, you know, with regards to their age, because that suits who I am. But in any case, we have these verses that promise all of this, and I think it's actually, you know, we have in our hadith that speak to the people according to the size of their intellect, to the size of their brains, if you will, according to the very statements of the prophets. If a man came, well, we have in our narrations as well, a man came to the Prophet Muhammad who loved women. He said to him, "You want me to pray and fast and do this and not drink and not eat pork? What do I get when I go to heaven?" And the Prophet Muhammad said, "You get lots of women." He said, "Wonderful." So he became a devout believer.
Right.
And then someone else came and he loved money. So he asked the Prophet, "What's in it for me?" He said, "You get lots of money in heaven." So the companions, they said, "Prophet Muhammad, you're giving each one a different answer. Which one is it?" The Prophet said, "You speak to all of them according to their own understanding."
A true psychologist.
Yes, and when you look at the book, it's not speaking to one type of nation. It's speaking to humanity. You're going to have things there that will attract everyone. It will have the women, it will have the logic, it will have the poetry, it will have the political science, the miracles, if you will, everything. It has to be a combination of everything that satisfies everyone, because it's one edition. It's not going to come every month. So it's one-off book, and it's up to you to interpret.
I want to just very briefly touch on Israel, since you mentioned it a few minutes ago, and then I want to take our conversation. Much of our conversation has been about the doctrines of Islam. I want to now talk about some of the current issues dealing with Islamic incursions into the West. But you, in one of your lectures, I think it's the same one where you were saying that you're seeing all sorts of Islamization in Australia. You said something which, of course, as I was watching it, I was like, wow, I can't believe that an imam is actually saying this. You said, of course, Israel is for the Jews. Where do you think they come from, and so on? I'm guessing that a large percentage of your death threats might be coming from that one statement alone, no?
Yes. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Right.
My emails have been hacked several times, because they really want to know if I have some sort of connection with Israel or the Queen or something like that.
You're a Jew, really. You're pretending to be an imam, but you work for the Mossad, correct?
Zionist, yeah, MI6 and CIA, and
exactly.
Yes.
Now, what is it that allows you? So now I'm asking as a psychologist, right? What is it in your personhood that allows you to say, look, I'm a committed Muslim. I mean, look, I'm an imam. My father was an imam. I come from a lineage of Islamic scholars. I believe in my faith. Yet I'm going to stand up and say, of course Israel belongs to the Jews. What is it that allows you to sort of have that, I'm going to say honesty, because yes, there is a link between the Jews and the land of Israel, and that doesn't allow so many other people to have those two things within them. I could be a Muslim, but I could also be honest and give the dignity of the Jews to live in that land. What is it that allows you to make that link, but millions of others can't? Why is that?
Brother God, I'm going to answer you in a way that might surprise you and might surprise your audience.
Okay.
And this is because I don't play taqiyya, and the same way I was honest in that lecture, I'm still the same person. Every Muslim, imam or no imam, knows for sure Moses came before Jesus, and Jesus came before Muhammad, and Muhammad came after them all. So in no way could Palestine or Bilad al-Sham, which includes Israel, or the land of Israel, Jerusalem, in no way could that be Islamic land from the very beginning. This is basic history, basic geography. Saudi Arabia or Arabia was there, and Palestine is somewhere else. And for that to spread, Islam to spread, that happened during the time of the caliphs. Yes, the Prophet Muhammad did pray in Al-Aqsa Mosque. But come on, how long did he spend there to spread? He's not going to change the whole country. Later on, Islam expanded. So the point is, when Prophet Muhammad was in that land, he knew very well this was Jewish land. He knew Moses and Jesus walked this land. And the very people who followed Jesus, they were originally Jewish people. So if they change their faith and become Christians and then become Muslims, you've changed your faith. You haven't changed the history of the land. From Cairo, which I've been to, you have the graveyards of the Jewish people, to Iran, to Iraq, all the way to Yemen, this entire area. We had Jewish people. We cannot deny this. Why can't they say it, but I can? And the answer, as foolish as it may sound, is because they depend on Islamic centers to give them money to live, and if they speak, they will lose their financial support, whereby I am financially supporting myself by myself because I've been successful in some business projects, and that's why I have the freedom to say what I like without fearing anyone to come with the scissor and cut my income from me and my family. That's the main reason. So if they were all financially free and they had some sort of security, they will all speak out. Yes, we have some really dumb imams. We have really dumb imams that will speak as though Muhammad was before Adam. We have people like that.
So it is not true, as one Iranian imam said, that earthquakes are caused by the fact that women dress in a very provocative manner. There is no link between the provocative attire of women and earthquakes. Can we put that one to bed?
Yeah, that reminds me of the left when they say the climate change causes the attacks in London.
Oh my God, don't get me going on that one, Imam. I have been trolling Bill Nye for over a year because immediately after the Bataclan attack in Paris,
the solar power ones.
Exactly. Oh, look at you. You are up to date. And people said to me, why do you constantly go after Bill Nye? I said, well, I go after him not because I hold any personal animus against him. I don't care about him. But the fact that you have such a large platform from which to spread stupidity, right? I mean, the type of mental gymnastics that you have to go to say that these Paris guys did what they did because of CO2 levels and solar panels, I mean, it's breathtaking. That's why I go after him. So in a sense, one of the things that I admire so much about you is that, of course, I know that you're getting tons of death threats. There are huge personal costs to you. But the mere fact that you take the time and take the risks to speak your mind. And by the way, this is what amazes me, right? I mean, people don't appreciate the irony that you're not asking for anybody's killing. You're not saying anything insidious. You're speaking your mind. If Islam and all of its variations were so peaceful, why is it that you would have to send me a private message an hour or two ago saying, hey, Brother Gad, the death threats are coming in? I mean, do people not appreciate the irony of that? What's going on there, Imam?
I think it's because they haven't seen an imam like myself, unfortunately, who comes out. So they've been witnessing very corrupt imams who call for the beheading and killing of people. All of a sudden, they have this patriotic Australian with the flag, and he's full on for Western democracy. I've been like this since forever. I've only been discovered by media 2 years ago, and I've been working my way on social media. There are many imams that agree with me. There is hope. There are many imams in the UK, in Canada. By the way, I used to live in Ottawa, just outside the belts in Canada, a small area called Canada.
Nice.
Temporarily, yeah, I was there for a while. I was lecturing there, and I've been to Van City, Vancouver, Surrey, Richmond.
Nice.
I haven't been to Toronto, but yeah, I've been.
Montreal. I'm in Montreal. That's where you need to come.
I'll come one day. So yeah, we have these imams that agree with me. The main issue is, one, there's a big language barrier. Two, they're afraid to speak. Three, they can't speak because they're within Islamic governments. Four, what do they say exactly? What do they say? So they come out and they say Palestine is Jewish land, and then what? His wife's going to leave him. His family are going to go against him. His children will think their dad's crazy. What do they say? I mean, I have the ability to speak like this because I know what my circle is like. And believe you me, if I knew that I would lose a good friend or a good relationship or something because of my statements, I would be thinking twice about tweeting. But because I know that the people around me know my development. I mean, I was someone who used to hit his head with a sword.
Right.
You know, I was someone who hated.
This is Ashura, right?
Well, in different occasions. Yeah. It's not only for that.
Okay.
And I was someone who didn't like the West. You know, I was just because I received the Sunni upbringing within school. 8 hours private Muslim school a day. I got home, I was so tired, I would just sleep. My main Islam came from the private school in Western Australia. And when you grow up like that, you begin to hate everyone.
Right.
And it only hit me. I only woke up when I met someone. I will not mention his name at all. At all. I might reference him in the future if I write a book. I might reference. This person was not an imam. Was just a well-known lecturer. He sat with me, and me with my closed-mindedness, we had a big debate, and I lost the debate. And he proved me wrong. He proved everything I was strongly believing in to be absolutely wrong. So, you know, change is when you decide to change. It's not when you eventually, gradually change. So I walked out of that debate saying, you know what? Thing needs to change. I went back to my scholars who are still alive and who are lecturing, and I started emailing them. I never got one response. And I was the devout #1 student in that class. And I had memorized the Quran like that.
Hafiz.
Well, I'm not a full Hafiz, but I memorized what they were teaching us. Like the whole Al-Baqarah, I've memorized it by heart. That's the biggest chapter in the Quran. And I said to them, you know, you taught me this, but why did you hide this from me? Why did you want to do this? Why? Why were you very selective when teaching me? They wouldn't answer. In fact, some of them blocked me. Some of them insulted me. Some of them told the other students to block me and not speak to me. Some of them announced me to be somewhat of an apostate. It didn't really work out for them. Look, I come from that background, so for me, it's okay to speak because that's part of my development. No one can say I'm lying because I've lived that life.
But see, what's so amazing about what you're saying is precisely why I so enjoy doing these chats, because I too come from a land where you weren't allowed. Right? I come from Lebanon, where you know, you couldn't openly criticize the government. You couldn't be very frontal about criticizing religion and so on, even though Lebanon was supposed to be a progressive, modern Middle Eastern state. And I always say, look, I mean, there are two ways we could resolve our differences. We could either do it peacefully through debate, and where one person will lose the debate, the other one will win, or maybe neither will be moved in either direction, or we could do it violently. I think one of the problems in Islamic societies, and it could be, as you correctly said, due in part because of the religion and in part due to culture that has nothing to do with religion, is that there is a strain of might is right, right? The way that I show you that I'm right is that I kill you. that I behead you, that I silence you. This is how we resolve debates. And I think that if we're able to convince a great majority of people that as long as we treat each other with respect, we may disagree. You and I may disagree on whether Muhammad is the perfect guy or not. But as long as we engage one another respectfully, we're kind to each other, we walk away as friends, we are both enriched by the fact that we interacted with each other. You're not saying anything that is so violent and vile that you should be deserving of receiving death threats. But that's the reflex that comes from these societies. This guy is saying something that I disagree with him with, kill him. We need to get rid of that reflex, correct? I mean, obviously.
Definitely, because the main reason why I want to reform is basically because I don't want my own religion to end up killing me. It's as simple as that.
Right.
And, that would be very sad. Honestly, you're devout for the religion, and I'm I'm very strict, brother. You see how modern and moderate and peaceful I am? That's how strict my faith is. So in my faith, when you're very strict, that's who you become. You become someone that sits with the Jews and loves the Christians and eats with the Buddhists. But in other denominations, the moment you become strict, you go behead all of them.
Right.
Yes.
Let's link it now to some of the current realities. So a question that I raise with all of my guests who have expertise on these issues is I always ask them about immigration. And the issue, of course, which you've sort of touched on, I think, in one or two of your lectures, is how do we strike a balance between remaining humane, open, tolerant, right? I mean, out of 1,000 Muslims that are going to come in, I'm willing to bet that almost all of them are going to be lovely and kind and hospitable, and they don't want any of this violent stuff. But of course, many of them are going to carry with them, whether it be religious or cultural values that may not be consistent with those that you cherish in Australia or those that I cherish in Canada. So how do we strike a balance that we remain open to all peoples to come in, while at the same time recognizing that there is something unique about folks who come from these Islamic societies? Forget about the religion. If you don't want to attack religion, that have cultural values that are inconsistent with ours. Is there a way for this problem to be tractable?
The one thing that I believe is going on with the let's say the Muslims, our Muslim community is what's causing the problem, especially with multiculturalism in the West. If they're coming to the West, to Australia, to Canada, as refugees, then we need to ask them a big question. Do you want to be part of us? Do you want to integrate, or do you want to blend in? If you want to blend in, then you're going to be causing problems. You're going to have a Grand Mufti who dresses in a suit and tie, talks like Muhammad al-Arafi in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
It's not going to work. We don't want savages in suits. We don't want that. We have a barbaric ideology.
Tariq Ramadan might fit that description?
He's an apologist.
Right, okay.
He's an apologist. And he will tell you that ISIS are Muslim, but ISIS, he will say ISIS is Muslim, but the version of Islam that ISIS has is not Islam.
Right.
I say no, that is the real version of Islam. If you really want to implement Islam, really want to implement it, take the Quran word for word, go chop the hand of the thief and butcher and kill. That's it. That's the real Islam. Do not come and say it's not. It is. And that was present in that time. ISIS wants to live 1,400 years backwards. Yes, the verses of the chopping the hand, it's all there. We cannot deny. Tariq Ramadan comes and says, they're a Muslim. Why? Because they say la shahada, ashhadu an la. They testify that God is one, God is Allah, and Muhammad is the Prophet. So you can't really exit them from Islam. But their Islam is not the true Islam. They've got it wrong. No, he's got it wrong. He's got it wrong. And probably, in reality, according to the majority of the Muslims, his Islam is not the true Islam. Because you really can't, just for interview's sake, make up your own arguments and then expect everyone to believe you. It's not going to work. I don't want to speak too much about Tariq Ramadan, but when it comes to the main point of multiculturalism, the blending in is a big problem. Oh, look at these Muslims, the fashion hijab and everything. Wallah al-Azim, the majority of the death threats I receive from Muslim women are the Muslim women that don't wear hijab. Full on makeup, and they're the ones that want to kill me.
But why? What? Because you're infringing on the right of their Muslim sisters to wear the Islamic garb? What's causing them to be angry?
No, just I don't like the Bukhari book, for example.
Okay.
Or I believe that Israel is a state, for example. The one with the burqa hardly ever threatens me. Hardly ever. It's always the one that has too much makeup or has nothing to do with religion. Yani, music is supposedly a big sin. You go onto their Facebook to report them, for example, or to block them, you will see Amr Diab and Nancy Ajram and everything is there. And you're like, why you? You should be the happy one.
So let's see if we can analyze it psychologically. So could it be that because she is so modernized, one of the ways that she could signal that she is still a true believer is to look upon you as the filthy, Shia dog who is spreading mischief, right?
Indeed, definitely. Why? Because that's what they've been nurtured with. In order for you to be a religious person, you need to reject. You start off with hating, and that's what I used to preach before. I used to preach this before, and it's La ilaha illallah, it's no one else.
Right.
No, it's always hate, it's always that. No, we can look at things differently. We don't have to be like that. With regards to multiculturalism, big problem is we have economic migrants. Habibi, they're not refugees. What kind of a refugee comes off the boat with bangles and gold and mashallah? What kind of refugees? In Australia, we don't have Muslim beggars. We don't have that. Because we're all well off, alhamdulillah. We have to appreciate what this country has given us. In fact, even in Canada, some of the Muslims live in a better lifestyle than the Canadians themselves. And we cannot deny this. We can't. In the very state that I'm living in, all of the petrol stations are belonging to a Palestinian family. And then they cry for Palestine. It doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense.
Incidentally, I'm sorry, go ahead. Finish your point.
No, I'm finished, brother.
I was going to say that in 2001, I was on a sabbatical I had a 1-year sabbatical from my university. I decided to spend 7 weeks of that sabbatical in Australia and New Zealand, 5 weeks in Australia, 2 weeks in New Zealand. And I think, is it okay if I say which city you're in? I guess people know, right? It's not a security.
Yeah, I'm in Adelaide.
Yeah, you're in Adelaide. So I actually visited Adelaide. I'll send you some photos of us in the famous market of Adelaide by the University of Adelaide. We were all over the place. And honestly, I don't think I've had a trip that was more beautiful than Australia. So I really do appreciate when you say there is so much to defend about Australia, both its culture and its beauty. It is a perfect society that is truly tolerant, that's truly peaceful, that's truly multicultural in the good sense of the term. Multicultural in the sense that there are many different ethnicities. Multiculturalism is a problem as a political philosophy when you basically say to people, come in and don't adjust to our values. You have the right, if you want female genital mutilation, who are we to judge you, right? So you use cultural relativism to turn a blind eye to practices that are grotesque to our value. And I think that if we force people when they come, look, if you want to come here, my brother, no problem, tall, short, Jew, Christian, Muslim, atheist, but you have to respect our values. That shouldn't be such a hard sell. Why does it seem as though simply saying that is then construed as racist and bigoted? Why is that?
I don't know why, but we have the left that are actually working day and night, striving very hard. And what they're doing, they're rubbishing the Australian values. They're rubbishing the Australian culture, which I have adapted to, I've integrated, and then all of a sudden they want to take it away from me. That's not going to happen. And brother, you're an Arab, and I'm also an Arab. Originally, we're both Arabs. And me and you both know what it's like in the Middle East when it comes to a foreigner coming in. As soon as they come in the airport, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. And the moment they turn their backs, you najis kafir. Straight away.
You wanna explain to people what najis means, just so that they know?
Najis means impure.
Right. there is sort of a hierarchy of impure substances. So there is, urine, feces.
That just is the essence and core of all impurity.
And of course, the kuffar are very high on that list, correct?
Yeah, very high. You have to wash the hand after you shake it, shake their hand. Yeah, and then we came to Australia. Honestly, let's be very frank. I came to Australia. I have never once slept hungry in this country. Right. Never once. And we ran away from where? From a Muslim community. Many people will say, yeah, Saddam Hussein was a terrorist or dictator. No, we ran away from Shia, right. from the Iranian government. So you run away from your own people, you come here, and then you have to appreciate, we give back, and I've applied for the Australian Reserve Army as a chaplain, first preference, and second preference as an army soldier. And I'm proud, I'm very proud. What makes me really, really burn inside, and what makes my heart cry, when I see people from my own background not appreciating what is in front of them. Where in Iraq do you have grass? Where do you have football fields made out of grass? Right. They're playing on rocks, and you come here, fresh water, breeze from the oceans. Even in Canada, look at that. You have 3/4 of the world's fresh water. You have all of that, and then all of a sudden, they kafir, infidel, you want to take over just because you have money, you want to buy estates, and you want to establish your small mini Islamic community. That makes me burn. I don't want my country, Australia, to become I don't even want it to become like Dubai. I want it to stay Australia, which is why I have copped a lot of hate.
Well, and incidentally, I mean, you're a perfect manifestation of someone who could retain their original heritage, their practicing their faith, and yet be fully westernized in their values, right? I'm Jewish, but more than being Jewish or Muslim or Arab, I believe in freedom for everybody, right? So I do what I do without a single hint of hate in my heart. I do what I do. When I see the Islamization of Montreal, it's not because I hate Islam. It's not because I hate Muslims. It's because I know that there is a reality that comes with an increased Islamization of a society. And I wish for Muslims and non-Muslims and everybody to live in peace and in freedom. And when you have a society that becomes more Islamized, the probability of that happening goes down. So we should be able to say that without being, I mean, I don't, of course, receive the death threats that you do, and I hope that all those death threats go away from your head soon. But I also receive, oh, you're a bigot, you're a hateful guy. And of course, there is no hint of hate in my heart, right? I'm willing to bet that most of the people that I've had as friends throughout the years were much more likely to be Arab non-Jews than Jews, right? I don't care about Jew, and I care about freedom. And so someone like you who escaped the hell from the Middle East, comes to Australia, could still be fully Muslim. I mean, you're an imam, but yet you could say, I love Australia. I love the values here. And I think if more Muslims took that bent where they could have both of these parts of their identity coexist within their personhood, I think the problem would be halfway to being solved, correct?
It would be the best step in the right direction. But they don't want that. They don't want it, Habibi. And the issue here in Australia is that we have a very tolerant majority. Very tolerant, very peaceful people. And the worst thing that could happen in Australia would be a rally against radical Islam. The worst thing, right. A rally. I mean, you imagine in the heart of, for example, in the heart of Mecca, where Christians used to live in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, or in Medina, where in the time of the so-called government of Prophet Muhammad, we had the temples and the synagogues and the churches. If now, under Islamic government, they want to build a church, AK-47s will raid the whole place.
Of course.
And me and you both know it. And the beheadings and the chopping and the RPGs will come from they'll fly in from different states to all have a piece of these poor Christians. And here, Habibi, we have mosques in every corner. Every suburb in Melbourne, They have Broadmeadows Mosque, Roxburgh Park Mosque, this mosque. That. Every area has its own. This is beside. Look, this is not national media, so I can freely say this. This is besides all the backyard mosques. You know what Arab garages are like, yeah? It's a garage, but there are lots of Bukharis, and you have the Imam give sermons, and we have lost control because we're too tolerant.
Yeah.
And what makes me really sad is I know where this is going.
Yeah.
I know where this is going. Now, can you believe before it was applications to have Muslim graveyards, Muslim-only graveyards. Then the Muslim-only mosques who don't do National Open Day. Then we have the Muslim-only libraries, Muslim-only swimming pools, public swimming pools with curtains. Now, yesterday, they want a safe space, and this is the Victorian.
Oh, I heard about that.
Victorian Muslim Council wants a safe space. we laugh at it because we know where this is going. It's step by step, and alongside all of this, we have the large Muslim estates, manataq, in Arabic, big suburbs, areas, all Muslim. Come on, you're gonna have a Muslim estate. What's the road gonna be named? After who? Which terrorist in history are you gonna name the road? Which terrorist in history? Honestly,
well, that's what the Palestinians do, right? Every single square is named after a shaheed, right?
Yes, or even those who spread Islam by the sword. The caliphs, you're gonna have the street of Muawiyah, okay, and Muawiyah butchered and killed everyone he didn't like. Right. So I don't want to see Australia go down that road at all.
So are you now being listened to more carefully by the key politicians and gatekeepers? Are you a voice that is heard, or are you on the periphery, but they're more than happy to listen to the Muslim Brotherhood and so on? Or are you part of the discussion within the political landscape of Australia?
I'm not part of the political discussion at all. Not part yet. And I believe because the Labour Party has created a paradigm for politics and political discussions in this country where it always heads one way. And they formed a system out of this. Now that Imam Tawhidi comes out of nowhere, to them I've come out of nowhere, to this community, this whole left-right debate I've come out of nowhere, because obviously I have my history around the world, a good 10 years going back, showing how skinny of an imam I was, preaching what I had been taught, but comes to them out of nowhere. They weren't expecting me. I come and now I say, look, I'm a Muslim. You can't label me a bigot. You can't label me a white supremacist. I'm still a Muslim, and I stand for Australian values, and I have conservative views.
Boy, they're confused when you say that, aren't they?
What are you going to do to such a person? What do you call him?
You must be a Jew in hiding. You must be a Jew. There's no other explanation, Imam.
No, I had a father, a bishop from a church. He sent me a wonderful letter. He goes, I swear to God you're a Christian. I will bet you anything you're a Christian. You can't be a Muslim. You're a Christian, my brother in faith. And he keeps sending me emails, and I know where he's coming from, and I appreciate the love and everything. But to be honest, it's just about being a good human being before all of this. Religion shouldn't be the priority. Being a human being should be the priority for everything. Once we've established that we're all human beings, then we can go on to taking matters ideologically, and it should always stay at home. The religion should stay at home. I don't want to see an Islamic government again in my life. I don't want it. I want an atheist. Completely no religion in government. Just do and say whatever you like. Otherwise, if you have a Christian government, the Muslims are going to be complaining. A Jewish government, the Christians are going to be complaining. You're going to have a Muslim government, everyone's going to be complaining. The Muslims themselves are going to be complaining. They'll kill each other. The Muslims will kill each other. This is what history has shown us. The Jews will be in government. The Muslims will complain. The Christians will complain. It just doesn't work. Get religion out of politics and just focus on serving the nation. Sadly, too much left in Canada and in Australia.
Oh yes. Listen, we're gonna stop soon because I know you have a very busy day ahead of you. But speaking of the left, you may or may not be familiar with Justin Trudeau, our current prime minister, and he is trying to replicate every single error that Europe has made, but on steroids. In other words, he's trying to take every wrong decision that Europe has done. And what I mean by wrong decision, incredibly lax immigration policy, letting everybody in under multiculturalism and political correctness, that I fear that we will soon be the next Sweden. If Sweden is the sort of epitome of crazy ostrich thinking, Canada is quickly heading down that path. I guess Australia is probably not nearly as progressive as Canada. Would that be a fair statement?
Australia, we have patriots that will never allow anyone to take a chunk out of this country.
Right.
I'll put it to you this way. If there's groups that want to make pockets in this society, we are tolerant with them. And by this, we mean by election. So come election time, Australians will vote for the party that says, I will get these radicals deported.
Right.
We're not going to vote for a party that promises me electricity and better submarines. I don't want that anymore. I can live without that. I can't live with radicals in my neighborhood. So this is how we react. We react when it comes to election time. The problem is with Canada. With Canada, your politicians are too afraid to be seen like Donald Trump.
Right. Yes, you're very right in that part of the Canadian identity is to constantly position itself as different from our mean southern neighbor, right? And so you're exactly right that it's almost a Canadian reflex to say, oh no, but we're different from those bad guys, the Americans, right? We have on our backpacks when you were speaking in English, if you've got a flag of Canada, you're good. If it were the U.S., you're a mean guy. So I think you're right that there is this reflex of always trying to not imitate anything that is from the U.S. You're absolutely right. Tell me, before I let you go, Imam, are there any projects that you are currently working on that are not yet public that you'd like to maybe use this forum to promote?
Well, very soon I will make some announcements. And when I do, I'll come on. I'd love to speak to you about them.
I'd love to, anytime. Open invitation. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll hold off till then.
Well, I want to make a professional video where I speak about it completely, with all the writings and everything. And once it's done, we can speak about my objectives and my main goals. But yes, one thing, no politics. So many people think I'm heading towards a political party. No politics whatsoever.
Hollywood calling? Any acting in your future?
Yes, there will be some acting.
All right.
There will be some acting. Now I'm not really acting. now
I don't want to hear that you're a fake imam. Don't tell me in a couple of weeks that you are a fake imam.
I'm gonna send you a cup, by the way, the fake shake cup.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I look forward to it. Well, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad. You don't know how many people wrote to me, so excited that we would speak to each other. So thank you very much for making the time.
God bless you, brother. Thank you. And I apologize if I seem to be yelling. I tried to make sure that the voice gets across. My mic seems to be a bit low today.
It is, but I think we've solved it. I think it worked out well. Thank you so much, Imam, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Stay on the line. Thank you. Cheers. Cheers, brother. to take every wrong decision that Europe has done. And what I mean by wrong decision, incredibly lax immigration policy. of always trying to not imitate anything that is from the U.S. You're absolutely right. Tell me, before I let you go, Imam, are there any projects that you are currently working on that are not yet public that you'd like to maybe use this forum to promote?
Well, very soon I will make some announcements, and when I do, I'll come on. I'd love to speak to you about
I'd
them.
love to anytime. Open invitation.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll hold off till then.
Yeah, well, I want to make a professional video where I speak about it completely, with all the writings and everything. And once it's done, we can speak about my objectives and my main goals. But yes, one thing, no politics. So many people think I'm heading towards a political party. No politics whatsoever.
Hollywood calling? Any acting in your future?
Yes, there will be some acting.
All right,
there will be some acting.
Now,
but not now. Now I'm not really acting. now
I don't want to hear that you're a
serious.
fake imam. Don't tell me in a couple of weeks that you were a fake imam.
I'm going to send you a cup, by the way, the fake shake cup.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I look forward to it. Well, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure. I'm so glad. You don't know how many people wrote to me, so excited that we would speak to each other. So thank you very much for making the
God
time.
bless you, brother.
Busy.
Thank you. And I apologize if I seem to be yelling. I tried to make sure that the voice gets across. My mic seems to be a bit low today.
It is, but I think we've solved it. I think it worked out well. Thank you so much, Imam, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Stay on the line. Thank you. Cheers.
God bless you.
Cheers, brother.